All right, my friends, good morning. We'll get started here in just a second. Hope you're all doing well. Happy holidays. We are about a week before the start of a new year. Oh, joy. Anyway, I hope all you guys are doing well. Welcome to this Sunday morning podcast. Another Good Morning Linux. This is Total OS Today, total technology for beginners and beyond. And as usual, I'll probably catch most of you later, or you will catch this podcast later. Anyway, Sunday mornings are good for me because this is where I'm actually doing this on my 4K big screen TV that I bought for myself for the holidays, and I am on the laying down on the carpet doing stretches. It's a good opportunity to do stretches and talk about technology. So welcome to this Good Morning Linux podcast. Again, if I missed you, sorry about that. Maybe catch you on the next one. If you haven't already, subscribe and click the notification bell so you won't miss the next one. So for this topic, my top 3 Linux stories, headlines for this year. Let me check the stream here, make sure everything is running good, and I have a confession. I'm actually running this in Windows 11. This is one of my backup computers, and I'm doing updates and all that. And Windows 11 has been fantastic, by the way. So yeah, it's cannot complain. So the stream looks good on YouTube, or YouTube. Anyway, all right, looks good. Let me go into my top 3 topics here, and then let's see who was in the chat after that. How does that sound? Okay, let me get situated here. There's nothing like early morning stretches before breakfast. See, first I stretch my legs, then I stretch my mouth into my breakfast. See, yeah, that's the secret. All right. My top 3 Linux headlines. Now, there are probably more than 3, but since this channel is dedicated primarily to 1.3 billion Windows users who probably still don't use Linux, or I've tried it and don't like it, it's really dedicated for beginners to the world of Linux and technology in general related to Linux. So my top 3 headlines. Number 3, I would probably have to put Windows 11 in that Linux headline. Windows 11 rollout was somewhat confusing. The requirements were, the requirements were rather strict. I won't go into the whole story again about TPM 2.0 and all that, but it basically Windows 11 immediately made a lot of older computers, obsolete. Like, when I mean old, I mean like even 3, 4, 5-year-old PCs that did not have specific Windows 11 requirements were immediately rendered obsolete because you could not upgrade to Windows 11. Now keep in mind, if you are running Windows 10, there is support for the next, I believe, until 2025, right? So the fact that the requirements were strict and somewhat confusing may, and I stress may, make Windows users restore those computers or try installing a form of Linux in those older PCs. However, keep in mind that soon after that was posted about the upgrade process for Windows 11, Microsoft released on their blog a hack on how to install Windows 11 on unsupported, quote unquote, unsupported PCs. I tried it. It works, at least on my Lenovo, and that's what I'm doing this live podcast on. So this is a good and bad thing for potentially new Linux users. You can try the hack, see if it works. You may get the updates on the hack system, maybe not. Windows 11 is fast. It is faster than some forms of Linux. I can verify that. That being said, I think for the Linux world, I think it's a plus that Windows 11 has been release. So it's kind of 50-50, but I will give the edge to Linux as far as Windows 11 upgrades go. But keep in mind that you can still dual boot if you wanted to, Windows 11 and Linux, and that's what I'm doing on this system. I dual boot Windows 11 and Zorin OS 16 Lite. One of the best Linux distributions and one of the best for newbies to the world of Linux. All right, let's see. I should have wrote this down, but I didn't. Number 2, probably my number 2 Linux headline has to be the disaster from LTT, Linus Tech Tips. I think his name is Linus Sebastian, a popular YouTube personality, millions of followers across the world. He seems like a nice fella. And he tried installing Linux for the first time and tried to use it as a daily driver. I believe himself and a friend of his, I forget the name of his friend. Anyway, they chose to go gaming, newbie gaming in Linux. Not my first choice, but at least he tried. It was a disaster for him, not so much of a disaster for his buddy. His buddy used an Ubuntu-based system for beginners called Linux Mint. Fantastic choice to try. I believe Linus tried Arch-based, did not go well. No surprise there. Honestly, looking at his videos, he would have been just better off just buying a Chromebook. He would have had much better luck. Chromebooks are a global standard for Linux, at least for the Chromebooks. They work out of the box. There's nothing to fix. Either it's what you're looking for, either they work or they do not work out of the box. He would have been better off buying that and just listing the pros and cons of a Linux-powered Chromebook. That, I think, would have been a lot better video for Linux newbies. At least let's show them the potential power of a Linux-based hardware system such as a Chromebook. But he chose to go gaming and Arch-based, I believe it's Manjaro, and did not go too well. A lot of people are blaming him. I don't understand it, because when I started off in 2006 with Linux, I did what Linus did. I went to the web. Duh. And I tried to get as much information as I can. It did not go well in the beginning, back in 2006, but I was patient, and I knew Linux had potential. This was 5 years before Chromebooks, and really years before, we had your Linux Mints of the world and Zorins and all the friendlier forms of Linux. But yeah, my number 2 story has to be the Linus Tech Tips disaster to show Windows users, I guess, how to install Linux. Just don't install Manjaro, and just don't try gaming first in Linux. If you are a Windows gamer, yeah, just don't go there. I mean, Linux, yes, Linux can do gaming, but it's not for beginners, so just don't go there. Plain and simple. But Linux for me has been fantastic. All right. My number 1 Linux story, headline for this year, Linux, in spite of its growth pains, is 30 years old. This year, Linux, what we will call Linux today, is 30 years old. It was all started 30 years ago by a student from Finland, Linus Torvalds, who was considered the father of Linux, or at least the father of modern-day Linux. He started something that he thought would go nowhere, just a hobby. And here we are 30 years later. Because of him, I am here as a Windows user promoting Linux, or at least some forms of Linux for newbies. So happy birthday, Linux. Well done. And that is my top Linux headline for this year. Let me just say one last thing here. If you are thinking about using Linux or tried it and it didn't work out, Linux for beginners is much, much better than it was when I started back in 2006. There are plenty of choices for beginners, generally Ubuntu based, so such as Zorn, Linux Mint, Peppermint OS if you want something light. There are Ubuntu flavors. Ubuntu Mate is my #1 pick. I can't really put standard Ubuntu as a top 3 or top 5 pick for beginners. The GNOME desktop simply is not designed for beginners in my opinion. I will still put it in the top 10 for beginners. I will recommend anything that is stable. But yeah, one time Ubuntu was up there, but when they switched from Unity to the GNOME desktop, it's the GNOME desktop in general, even though it looks great, it's not necessarily well liked in the Linux community as user-friendly. It works. You can get it to work with tweaks, but it's just not designed for beginners. But I started with Ubuntu. So sure, if you wanted to try standard Ubuntu as a beginner, of course, you can learn. It's just not as easy as it used to be. But Linux in general as a whole, if we talk about the world of Linux as a whole, it's not easy for beginners. There is a lot of information out there, a lot of choices, what we call fragmentation. That can be confusing. That can be frustrating, as what happened with Linus Tech Tips. But if you sift through that, and that's what I try to do, if you sift through the maze of choices, get through the smoke, through the clouds of confusion, you can pick specific Linux-based systems to make it a lot easier for yourself if you are a Windows user. Much, much better now than really even 10 years ago, let alone 2006 when I started using Linux, and it's pretty much self-taught. It's not easy. Well, it wasn't easy back then, although it's easier now in general. But the universe of Linux for beginners is not easy unless you can sift through all of that and pick the ones that are easier for Windows users. I hope that makes sense. So if you try Linux and it doesn't work out for you, don't just immediately say, boy, Linux sucks. Maybe you picked the wrong type of Linux-based system. Maybe you were trying to do gaming off the bat with no help. Try it and maybe try something else if it doesn't work out for you the first time. You might be surprised, as I have been. Again, I am still a Windows user, not as much, but if you are a Windows user and you've heard about Linux, it's not just for geeks anymore. If you've heard about it and maybe tried to install something, it didn't work, then maybe try a Chromebook. Maybe all you want to do is just turn that sucker on, go on the web. Don't want to worry about viruses or ransomware. And maybe a Linux-powered Chromebook is what you are looking for. Linux Chromebook sales are booming worldwide, and there's a reason for that. They just work, and probably the majority of the people don't know they're based on Gen 2 Linux, which to them means absolutely nothing, and that's okay. But if you tried Linux in the past, don't give up just yet. It is easier now than it was when I started. I hope that makes sense. All right. Let me go into the chat here. Probably not too many people this holiday weekend. Steve is in the house. Good morning. Vincenzo. We missed you Friday night on the private naughty Christmas chat. It was a lot. I had to delete a lot of stuff, but it was a lot of fun. Anyway, Fluffy Cloud 331. Isn't that a Gen 2 based system? I'm just kidding. Welcome, Fluffy Cloud. Russ Suvatar. Welcome, Russ. I don't know if this is your first time on a live chat, but welcome. I think there is some value in the way that WSL is in 11, giving GUI programs a chance to. Yes. I hope it encourages more people to try a full Linux. That's what I've been doing here for this channel for the last 11 years. To at least try Linux, and it hasn't been easy. Anyway, welcome. LTT's friend is called Luke. Thank you. Yeah, I think he had better luck then yeah, much better luck than Linus trying Arch Bass. I have to tell you, when I saw the first video and he picked Manjaro Arch Bass, I was like, oh God, really, Linus? Anyway, Steve, you still love Manjaro? Okay, yeah, as long as it works. My first taste of a full install of Manjaro Arch Bass was horrible. But I thought that happened after turning on the AUR, the Arch User Repository. For Windows users, it's really the Arch Useless repository because it breaks systems. It can potentially break things. Anyway. Oh, wow. You started on Slackware. The computer was called Dark Star. That sounds like a movie. Feel the power of the Dark Star. Sorry. Yeah, the early 90s, yeah. Yeah, baby LTT should have stayed with Pop, would have given them... Yeah, but I think Pop OS had a bug that destroyed his whole system starting off, and Pop OS admitted it, and they fixed it. Yeah, I just wish LTT would have contacted me first. I would have said, look, why not just go with Linux Mint or Ubuntu Mate or Zorin OS? Just something simple. Start off with simple. Don't go with Arch based as a newbie. Just don't do it. There's nothing wrong with Arch systems. They're great for power users. You know, I'm just saying. Anyway. Fitz says, I didn't want to be on Santa's naughty list. Oh man, Friday night was a hoot. I posted, Vince, some of the semi-naughty stuff yesterday here on the channel. Just a few little things, but it was fun. It was fun. Yeah. Anyway, Thomas is in the house. Okay, some foreign language here. How do you say Merry Christmas in German? Anyway, in German, to say hello is Guten Tag. Oh, Russ, you're from Iceland? Looking at the chat here, cool. Nice. Let me go ahead and, speaking of the chat, let me go ahead and transition here. And you guys should be able to see this now. There we go. I love these tabs, by the way. This is great. Anyway. These tabs in Windows 11 are so cool. There we go. I like islands too. Sanibel Island is beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. It's been a while since I've been on vacation, but with this new other virus hitting, I'm so sick of it. But one day we'll get back to normal. I wish I could call Uncle Guido and Sissy. Say, hey, Uncle Guido, could you put this virus on ice? Give us some Manchus already. It's been a pain in the kernels here. If I had an Uncle Guido. Anyway, Dan is in the house. Dan, thank you for joining in Friday night. It was fun. As always, my friend. By the way, as we end the year, thank you for all of the contributors and supporters of Total OS. Those of you who helped contribute this year, helped out, keeping this channel going. Thank you, all of you. You know who you are. Russ says you're a bit Heinz. 57 varieties. Got it. Understood, Russ. Okay. Cool. Yeah, Dan, it was. Okay, let's see. Since I'm running Windows 11 quick, who wants to guess how much RAM is Windows 11 running all this? Quick. Take a guess. How much RAM? Now, Linux with the GNOME desktop, using all this would be close to 3 gigs with the GNOME desktop. How much do you think Windows 11 RAM usage is, right? I'm going to show you here in a second, but real quick, anybody take a guess? How much RAM am I using? Just take a guess. Says 8 gigs. Well, it's not that heavy. If this was using 8 gigs, there is something seriously wrong with Windows. Or any system that uses 8 gigs. Okay, Thomas says 6. Fluffy says 4. Okay. All right, let me just show you. One of you is closer to correct. Here we go. 3.3 gigs. Not bad for Windows, Not bad. I have OBS, with streaming, Windows 11, 50-inch TV. That is not bad. Yeah, GNOME is just slightly a little bit less. About 2.8 gigs the last time I did this. But Windows 11 just feels fast. So yeah. Yeah. So Dan, yeah, it's fluffy. Yeah, it's closer. It's 3.3 gigs. So there we go. Not bad at all, really. As you can see, I'm running a Fred Flintstone processor, AMD Athlon 2 from 10 years ago. I did upgrade to an SSD, and it works okay. Yeah. I caught something briefly this morning on the news. I guess Apple workers in some states walked off the job Christmas Eve to protest working conditions. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that story, but I caught it this morning. Anyway, yeah, check out that story. Russ says, impressed. In fairness, I usually have 100 tabs open. Wow. The Marvelous Suspender is a very useful browser extension. Marvelous, I don't know what that is. The Marvelous Suspender. It sounds like a superhero movie. Coming soon, a theater near you, The Marvelous Suspender versus Spider-Man. Speaking of Spider-Man, the new film is going to gross $1 billion worldwide. I don't get it. I've seen like 1 or 2 Spider-Man movies. I mean, they were okay, but The Marvelous Suspender. Yeah, it sounds like a superhero film or something that you put on your pants. It puts tabs to sleep after a set amount of inactivity. Like 5 minutes. Got it. Understood. Okay. Okay. Well, I can see where that could be useful if you open up a lot of tabs. The Marvelous Suspender. That's a great name. Yeah, it holds up more than 1 pair of pants. Yes, for those of you who like to wear 6 pairs of pants, use the Marvelous Suspender. Oh man, running Pi-hole, it's TS server and TV head-end server Pi-hole. I don't know about you guys, but to me Pi-hole has a different meaning that I can't say here, but I completely understand, Thomas. I understand. Oh, Russ is a programmer by trade. Cool. Usually have a lot of references open, just how you roll. Understood. Nice. So how long have you been using Linux, Russ? By the way, if we have anybody new watching, wants to say hello or has a question, maybe stuck on something, feel free to post it here while I'm here for a little bit while longer. Oh man, these morning stretches are great here on the carpet. Feel great. ate too much food, and feel a little stiff. Yeah, definitely don't feel like a lightweight Linux system this morning. But the sun's coming out. Maybe I'll do some walking later. So you started in the early 90s with Slackware, but yeah, okay, but like what are you using now? You still using Slackware now? I remember Mandrake, sure. So Thomas is using SUSE. Debian, very good. Yeah, well, Ubuntu-based systems, aren't they mostly based off of Debian? Yeah. Depends on the contract. Okay. Yeah, isn't Debian one of the oldest Linux systems, like Slackware? Let's see. Arch has been around, what, 20 years now, I think? Yeah, no, it's no surprise that Ubuntu picked Debian as its base back in 2005, 4, something like that. So, yeah. Ah, you like Pop at home. Okay. The fonts are perfect. Yeah, Pop is okay. Pop OS has been very successful here in the United States, building their own computers in Pop OS. So, yeah, one of the very few successful Linux stories here in the States. Checking the RAM, still using 3.3 gigs. Very good. You would love a System 76 laptop. Yeah, their machines aren't cheap. Yeah, but I heard their customer service is very good. Yeah, so Debian started in 1993. Yes, then from two people, a couple named Debbie and Ian, if I recall. I don't think they are any longer a couple, but yes, hence the word Debian. Yes, I know. Russ says the computer builder app on their website, Pop OS's website, a lot of fun spending virtual tens of thousands of dollars. I know, it's very Apple-ish, isn't it, Russ? But hey, they are successful. Cannot argue with success. I would love to get one of those machines just to try it out, but I don't have a spare couple thousand to spend, so. Oh, you're in the UK, so the import costs. Yeah. That would be cost prohibitive, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, my dad is in Italy. He's not really a computer guy. He has a smartphone, but yeah, until we get through this pandemic, it doesn't appear like any time soon. Oh man, it can get depressing. It it can. So, but we will persevere. We will fight. We will not quit. Of course, we all know what the UK stands for, right, Russ? The Ubuntu Kingdom. Ha 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 ha. I don't know if Pop OS would offer a franchise. Why don't you ask them? Yeah. Why not? Sounds reasonable to me. Yeah. Look, the UK, the Ubuntu kingdom. Yeah. For those of you who didn't watch the the one from yesterday live chat I did, we had Christmas jokes Friday night, and one of my favorite Christmas jokes was, "What did one snowman say to the other snowman? Hey, you're cool, but a pop up." There is an Italian COVID joke, by the way. Hey, there's a new Italian COVID vaccine, but it's a suppository. Yeah, it's called innuendo. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm still laughing at that. Anyway. Yeah, but a bump up. I wish I could walk into a local Walmart, and buy a Linux machine or look at it besides Chromebook, something based on whatever, you know. This is why we need a global standard Linux desktop based on whatever. It doesn't matter. Just give me more of a choice than the Chromebook, especially for beginners, So, yeah. Vincenzo says lost. What happened? Well, Australians are lost anyway, so what's the difference? But a bump. We should have a global, a Linux desktop at Walmart that's based on just one system. Whatever, based on Arch, Gentoo, Debian. I don't care. Just have one system for newbies that works, that does gaming, and we should call it Constellation OS. Because I like the name. Constellation OS. I think it's a great name. Hello, Quails. Imagine you running a Linux-based desktop with your kids. Friends come over. Man, that computer is so fast. What is that? Oh, this is Constellation OS. Ooh, Constellation. Wow. Doesn't that sound cool? Okay. Oh, what do you call a penguin in Africa? Lost. Vince, got it. Understood. Okay. What do you call a chicken at the North Pole? Lost. I told that joke to Stephanie a couple summers ago, and she lost it, but get it? Lost it, huh? Anyway, I do remember the one laptop per child some years ago, Russ. I don't know what happened to that. Is that still around? We have. Oh, I'm going to say your name wrong, probably. Shivlok Sharma. What's up? Yo, what's up? Hope I said that right. I have a friend of mine. We have this running joke From the old Super Bowl Budweiser commercials. They're on YouTube. When the guy calls and says, "What's up? What's up?" Anyway. Yes, Russ says I went shopping to buy a fiance piano. She complained how long it took. I told her to relax. I was Christmas shopping. Yes, but about. Psh, yeah, what do you call a polar bear in Sweden? At home. Yes. What's the difference between snowmen and snow women? This one's easy. Difference between snowmen and snow women. Snowballs. Can I say that? Yeah, I guess that's not that naughty. I said your name right? Ah, phew, thank goodness. Well, welcome. Everybody say hello to Sharma. Welcome to this morning's stream. Are you new here to the stream? I always get a joy out of seeing new names here on these live chats. So, welcome. Hope you're all well this holiday season if you celebrate this type of holiday. I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in Orlando, Florida. I guess it's been in the 80s during the day. I don't remember 80s in Orlando when I lived there this time of year. Of course, it's been a while. Sleetaz OS versus DSL Linux. Oh man, Sharma says, "Who do you think will win?" You're from India. Welcome. I don't know. I don't use any of those. So, isn't DSL Linux very small and lightweight? If I recall, and I don't know too much about Sleetaz OS. If you're talking about lightweight Linux, and that's what you're looking for, definitely pick the lightest one. For lightness, I like Peppermint OS. I generally like Ubuntu base, so like Peppermint OS, Zorin OS Lite, if you want light. Lubuntu is pretty light. Yeah, Ubuntu Mate, sure, it's light. But I don't know too much about Sleetaz or DSL Linux. Is that what they use there in India? I know in Australia they use Kangaroo OS, or maybe they not. They do not. I don't know. just kidding. Yes, I think Australia should have something called Kangaroo OS. You want to know why? Because of all the distro hopping. Excuse me. Oh, so the OLPC is still active? Okay. Helping kids in Honduras with laptops. Cool. Windows 7 is still famous there in India. Wow. Really? Okay. Oh, come on, Vince. That was a good joke. Kangaroo OS because of distro hoppers. Come on. Crocodile OS. Yeah, right. Crocodile Dundee. Yes. For those of you who joined in late and you missed my top 3 Linux headlines for this year, of course you can replay this, but my top 3 for this year, Linux stores, has to be Windows 11, even though I'm using that now and it works great. Windows 11 requirements are somewhat strict, confusing, might make it easier for Windows users to consider trying Linux because of Windows 11, although you can install Windows 11 with a hack on unsupported machines like this one. But number 3 on my top 3 Linux headlines for this year has to be Windows 11 number 3. Number 2 Linux headline for this year was the Linus Tech Tips LTT Linux debacle. He should not have picked Manjaro to try off starting as a newbie in Linux. That's just all there is to it. His friend Luke, somebody mentioned Luke, his friend, better luck with Linux Mint. Yes, good night, Sharma. And, oh, I guess it is night for you, yeah. Thank you for stopping by. Cheers. Number 2, the LTT debacle. My number 1 Linux headline for this year, Linux is 30 years old. Happy birthday, Linux. And thank you, Linus Torvalds, for giving us this, well, what we do here. You know, yeah. Happy birthday, Linux. Well, I don't know if Sleepy does do a lot of hopping now. I just said it as a joke. But CFWW's in the house. Welcome. Yeah, it's 30 years ago. Linus Torvalds started a little hobby project from the University of Finland or Helsinki. He thought it would be nothing, and from nothing came this great thing we do here. You know, it's because of him, what he's done, that this Windows user, this Italian from Ohio, hey, what's all about this Linux? Okay, I will try Ubuntu. Anyway, thank you, Linus, for Linux. I remember Knoppix. CFW says first one was Knoppix. Are they still around? I still like my singer friend Slim Man, when he says the first time he heard of Ubuntu sounded like a power drink, like Red Bull. Hey, yeah, give me a shot of Ubuntu. Yeah, make it a double. Yeah, I think Constellation Linux or Constellation PC sounds like a great. I totally agree. I should patent it. I know, the Constellation Linux or Constellation Desktop. And I think we should have Arnold as its spokesman. Bah, you need to try Constellation Linux, or you'll be terminated. Bah, terminate Windows 11 now. Bah. Would that be funny if that actually happened? You could see a commercial, or just have Arnold do the voiceover. Forget the Windows. Blah. New Constellation Linux for more power. Oh, so much fun with Arnold. Blah. No hopping, Vincenzo says, since on Arco and Ubuntu. Very good. It's funny how they named a Linux off an oil company, Arco. That's here in the States. Arco is an oil company. Oil and gas, yeah. Russell wants to fork Wikipedia. The problem is when people fork a lot of things, everything gets forked up, if you know what I mean. Yes, call it Wikipedia. How do you scare a snowman? Grab a hair dryer. Da, 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 da. That was so stupid. I'm still laughing at it. That's from Friday night. All right, I'll stick around for a few more minutes. Then I think it is time for my breakfast, late breakfast. It is 10:27 a.m. locally. So yeah, almost breakfast time. The sun's coming out. It's in the 40s. I think I can deal with that. I think that's stable weather. Arco came from the Standard Oil Company. Okay. Maybe that would be a name for a desktop. Standard Linux. Kind of clever. Yeah. For a national desktop, Standard. I still like Constellation, yeah. Ron says the first desktop, first distro, Mandrake 2000. Yeah, that's been a while. Thank you, Russ. He says, thank you for the podcast and the chit chat. Nice way to start a Boxing Day. Okay. Lovely to talk to you all. Thank you, Russ, for stopping by. Great to have you here. Great to have everybody here, especially people I don't normally see on these live chats / podcasts. Welcome anytime. And send that email. Send that suggestion to Pop OS about a franchisee for the UK. You never know. Is today really Boxing Day? How nice. The day after Christmas, which is love, peace in the world. The next day is beat the crap out of him. It's Boxing Day. Humans. And anyway. Yeah, so those of you who came in late, if you missed any of this, of course, you can replay this anytime. For those of you who like to listen to podcasts, I am on Spotify and Google Podcasts. Just search Total OS or search my name. And you can listen to the podcasts for free. Of course, you can always donate to the channel. But yeah, I have... on my Android phone, I use, what do I use? Anchor and Google Podcasts. Usually when I go out, if I go out for coffee, that's what I'll listen to. Okay, Russ. Usually lurk with your shows and others in the background while you're working, but I would love to contribute more often. Well, thank you. Oh, it's Boxing Day in the UK. It's named after the servants who served everyone on Christmas Day. Got their own day to open their own boxes. Oh. Understood. Now I get it. It just sounded funny here in the States. Understood. A piece of... See, look, these programs are so informative. We have Linux. We have Windows. We have historical references to Boxing Day. Interesting. I did not know that. Cool. Atlantic gas station change to Arco. Okay. I don't know, Ron. How do you electrocute a person drying the hair of a snowman with the hairdryer? Yeah, now that I know CFW, boxing has nothing to do with it. Just here in the States, I think of boxing as boxing. So yeah. But now that I know the historical reference, I won't make the same mistake next Christmas. But I think there was a boxing match last night. on Comcast. It wasn't there? I think that was. Yeah. I was watching one of the football games, and then after that came boxing. Yeah. All right, Quails, take care. Yes, Vincenzo says it's all about boxing up unwanted gifts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was actually car shopping yesterday, web car shopping for another Lexus for myself. I bought one, I gave it to my son, and now I'm jealous. Those cars, by the way, they're like the diamonds of cars. They're like the Debbie and Stable of cars, you know. Incredible pieces of technology. Too bad we can't build them here like that. But anyway, that's another talk show topic. But yeah, Boxing Day. Awesome. All right, is there anything else before I wrap this up? I'm ready to start my day, get showered, have a late breakfast, maybe meet some friends out. Since the weather's nice. Do all the normal Linuxy stuff besides doing these shows. Again, if you missed any of this, catch it on the replay, of course. Hope to squeeze in one more live show. The topic I want to do is the global standard Linux desktop. Maybe we'll do that, I don't know, maybe Christmas Eve? How does a Christmas Eve show sound? Yeah. Oh, hi, Tim. Sorry catching you here on the tail end of this. Just about to wrap this up after almost an hour here. Going to start my day, get some breakfast. Yeah, New Year's Eve. Maybe do something New Year's Eve. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll do that topic New Year's Eve. The global standard Linux desktop. Which is, Friday night, right? Yeah, either New Year's Eve or New Year's night, next day, maybe. But I'm thinking about New Year's Eve. Be the final live show for this year. All right, well, thank you. All of you who stopped by to say hello. Thank you, Russ, for stopping by. Thank you for, just for sticking around to chat with me here in the chat. Thank you for 12 likes. That's love. Yes. 14 likes on a roll. Thank you. There was a quick, and I will end it on this Friday night during the live chat. There was, or during the private chat. Somebody in the States found out his neighbor was suffering from depression from the pandemic and everything starting last year. His next door, across the street neighbor strung some lights across the street. And this year they put up a Christmas sign that says, "Love lives here," to help that neighbor battle depression and any other life's issues. Love lives here. And that's the same on this Total OS channel. Love also lives here. Thank all of you. Love all you guys and girls who stop in over the course of, I've been doing this 11 years. Who would have thunk it? Started this channel off as a hobby. And here we are. Yeah, it's just a simple story. So anyway, look after each other. 100% agree. It's all about the love. And sometime this week, I will debut the second song for my dad's film, which is still looking for a home. It's been hard, with the pandemic shutting everything down. But that song is called I Truly Love You. And I will debut it sometime this week on YouTube. And translated video sung in Italian. That my dad wrote the song. My dad wrote it and composed it. Anyway, 16 likes. Wow. Thank you. All right. That's it for this one. You guys know how to reach me. Yes, or maybe, maybe New Year's Eve. We'll do that. We'll do that show, the Global Standard Linux Desktop. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, keep in touch. Remember, it's all about the love. Arrivederci, my friends. Take care.